Good morning, everyone. I'm Jen Houston, owner of the Artsy Fartsy Gallery. I'm a full-time independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Canmore, Alberta, Canada. It's Friday, Fun Friday, which means we are going to be doing a neat little fun fold today. So every Friday we do something a little different, something a little outside the box. Actually, all week we do things outside the box, don't we? And so, yes, this is a fun fold I have never done before. The lady on the video promised it was easy, and it is easy. It just takes a little bit of prep work to create this kind of fun fold. But I'm telling you, the end results are pretty stunning, and it is a wow card. So if you are needing something a little over the top, this is definitely a neat fold for you. And of course, I'm sticking with the birds and branches bundle that we've been using all week. And it fit perfectly for this item. So I am excited to show it to you. I'm also going to be putting on a special little slant on it because do you know what tomorrow is? July 25th. 6 more months till Christmas. So we are doing Christmas theme today because, you know, Christmas in July, yay! Let's get ready for those Christmas cards, you know, while maybe things are a little bit slower in your life, maybe, COVID. Get those Christmas cards done up, and I'm going to show you how you can use this Birds and Branches bundle to make Christmas cards. Who knew? I know. So hello everybody, popping on here. Good morning to you. Mary Ellen, thank you so much for sharing. Awesome, awesome. So it's great to see all of you popping on. You're making my morning, that's for sure. So here we go. Are you ready to see what we're gonna make? I don't know. Now I'll just have to get my screens correct. Take this off, and there we go. Okay. Not the C word. Just today, Gina. Isn't this cute? It is a pyramid fold or a teepee fold. Isn't that cool? So, and you're thinking, oh yeah, well, how am I gonna send that in the mail? They thought of that. So it actually folds flat. And you're like, okay, well, yeah, but where am I going to write my message? Well, they thought of that too. Isn't that crazy? So you can write little sayings or put a stamp that has a sentiment on it. You could even add more white pieces if you wanted to, if you're kind of the book writing type. So isn't that cool? Now, the only thing is, I wanted to make this, didn't really look up the instructions ahead of time. I do that. It's kind of like how I make recipes, you know, you read one thing at a time and then you're like, you get to a certain step and you're like, oh, I guess I should have done this first or whatever, right? So anyways, what they suggested was getting some little Velcro pieces just to keep this closed. All right, so but for now, until I go find some little Velcro piece, we're just going to pretend that it closes. Okay, I could also put a little glue dot there, which would help hold it, but would allow for me to kind of unstick, stick, unstick, stick. So yes, I'm pretty impressed with myself. I think it's so cute. If I would have done this card differently, I would have stamped the bird, I think, on white cardstock as opposed to stamping it onto the wood grain paper from In Good Taste. I think the bird would have popped out a little bit more, but live and learn, and you know, you try different things. My concussion brain is exploding already. It's not that bad, I promise, I promise. Just lots of pieces and, like I say, lots of prep work. Okay, so there we go. Now, like I said, we are going to make a Christmas version. So I thought those birds could be cardinals, right? We're actually going to use this set that is coming up in the new catalog. It's a carryover from last year, which is great. And I'm going to be using this little Merry Christmas stamp from there. You can guess why I love that stamp. Kind of reminds me of Label Me Bold. Did I tell you I got that stamp set out the other day when I was making an order for somebody? I'm like, oh my goodness, Label Me Bold would be the perfect saying for this card, and sure enough it was. So yes, this reminds me of Label Me Bold. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I fell in love with a word set that is now retired. And so yeah, so this is kind of bringing back my Label Me Bold moments, right? Okay, here we go. If you forget some of these measurements, forget some of what did she do, of course you're always welcome to go to my blog, my webpage later on, here I'll write it out, theartsyfartsygallery.com, www.theartsyfartsy, I'm gonna run out of room, gallery, yeah, we'll go down here, gallery.com, and all those measurements and the paper that I used and all that kind of stuff will be on there. All right, so of course I prepped ahead of time so that this wouldn't take me a week to complete. Oh, you bought that Label Me Bold because of me. Yes, hopefully you've used it and loved it as much as I have. All right, so you are going to need a trimmer for this project, I'm just saying, because there's lots of cutting of pieces. So sticking with my favorite, I'm going with gray granite, and what you need is 3 pieces of 4x4 squares. Okay, so that's what you need to start off with. Then you need 2 pieces of Designer Series paper. So I chose the Peony Garden, but on this side it's just a very light, what's that called? I don't know, some kind of a, not chevron, but kind of a light pattern that I thought would go for a Christmas card. Okay. I should have said before this, 2 pieces of darker cardstock that is actually going to mat this Designer Series paper. So so I chose basic gray. So 2 of those, and then I've got a piece of Whisper White, so that's going to go on the inside to write on, and it is 3.5 by 3.5. Then the same matte color, I've got a piece of basic gray at 1.5 by 1.5, and then once again my little DSP measuring 1.25 and 1.25. And then just decorations. Herringbone? Yeah, that sounds about right. I think that sounds good. So there's all the pieces that we're going to need, plus whatever decorations you want to, create on the front there. But as I said, all those measurements and pieces will be on my blog later on today. So let's start off with, because now we have to do some scoring and cutting of these items. So these 3 pieces of 4x4, we're actually going to score on the diagonal. So I love this paper trimmer because it has lots of room to kind of line up your project. So stick one corner right in that track and the other corner right in that track, and we are going to score them all. So there's the one. Has anyone made this pyramid or TP card before? I have not. I've never made this one. And it's, I'm going to keep going. I like it. Okay, so those 3 are scored. Those are the only ones that get scored. The rest get cut. Okay, so now, like I say, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're cutting the pieces. So I should have slid want to get those as crisp and perfect as possible. Lining up that and that. Now, if finding your blade is a little bit dull, don't start cutting, don't slide like you normally do. You can start cutting in the center and then just go back and forth. That way it's not going to wreck your corners. Okay, and now we're moving on to the DSP. So I'm just going to place this kind of in the center of the item and then slide it back and forth. That way it won't tear or bunch up the corners on you. As you can see, I've used this it was the In Good Taste, but this Peony Garden paper as well. Awesome paper. Just seems to go with so many things. Now this is that insert, the Whisper White insert. In half. Here's our teeny weeny little mat. It's going to go on the legs, if you will, of our pyramid. And one last piece to cut. There we go. Okay, just sit. Stay there. Just lay down gently. Okay. Done. Pretty good. Okay, so now we are ready to get assembling this card. So we're going to start off with our base, which is going to be these 3 triangles. Let's get out our bone folder and give these a nice crease. So I want to pay particular attention, I suppose, to when you fold it down. Is it pretty much even? It's your kind of second chance to make it perfect, right? Who doesn't have a bone folder? Anybody out there not have a bone folder? I'm going to give away a bone folder to somebody who shares this video. Okay, so I'm going to give away a Stampin' Up! Bone folder. I have quite a few extras, and I would love to give something away. I feel a tickle coming, and of course today I left my water over there in the kitchen. All right. Let's get gluing these little items together. So I'm going to use liquid glue because I want to be able to have a little bit of flexibility as to, moving it and positioning it right exactly where I want it. So let's get this in the diamond shape. Then we are going to make a triangle shape with these two pieces. Okay, do you see the triangle? Boop, boop, boop. Big triangle. All right, but we're going to glue one at a time. So kind of just lay it down where you think it should go. We're going to get out a pencil. I'm sure I left, no, here it is. Okay, I'm just going to put a little tick mark so that way I know where to put my glue so it doesn't get everywhere where it's not supposed to go. Okay, now we're going to position this down along here. But the main goal is to get these two pieces lined up the best. So you don't want to have anything sticking out a little funny there. You want it perfect. Okay, there we go. Good to go. Now, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now I can just kind of judge from there where I can put my glue and where I need to kind of stay within. And I suppose I shouldn't have done that little piece there. Whoop, that's not right. We need the triangle, big triangle. And once again, just make sure that everything lines up perfectly along this edge. Okay, so now we have ourselves kind of an airplane, I suppose. Okay, so do you remember we cut these Whisper White pieces? These are going to be our inserts where we get to write on. It's like a puzzle, isn't it? Reminds me of tangrams when I was teaching. All these little pieces that you fit together to make a square, but they make all sorts of other different shapes and whatnot too. So there again, liquid glue again, just because we can kind of have a little moment to like line it up well. So far, so good? Nobody's crying yet? It is a TP card. TP or a pyramid card, yes it is. You'll have to go back and watch the replay to see my first card that I showed at the beginning. And of course we're using the birds and branches set this week. Okay, I'm actually going to fold this now in half, just making sure that if anything is overlapping here, there's a little bit of a gap, which is kind of what you want, just so that it can fold in half so you can stick it in your envelope. All right, so now we get to, can you see how it goes together now? Okay, so now it's just basically assembling. We're going to flip this over and start adding our mats. So I've got the basic gray pieces. Of course, all these measurements and whatnot are going to be on my website, the Artsy Fartsy Gallery, later on today. And hopefully I don't get too busy making more and more and more of these cards, because you know I have another idea lined up, which I'm going to show you kind of in a moment. What I was thinking that I think would be a cute Christmas card idea as well. So it's not very traditional colors, right? But I'm finding more and more that people aren't using red and green all the time for Christmas cards, right? There's so many beautiful colors like silvers and grays and blues and pinks and pink and gold, all sorts. And then you just put a Merry Christmas on it and away you go. I like how those two colors go together. I was going to use Smoky Slate, but it didn't quite match the DSP as well as Gray Granite, and I love my Gray Granite. Yeah, you love non-traditional Christmas colors too. All right, oops, you know what? We're gonna add these two little pieces right there before I forget. Let's do everything all in order. And one last little one. Right there. Perfect. Now we're gonna lay this over top. Now if you didn't want that matte and you just wanted, you know, just go in with the DSP, or just, yeah, make the matte layer the DSP layer if you wanted to kind of save some time or save some paper, what have you. Lots of options. Okay. So pretty. And this one. Oh, I don't think it matters, but I see the pattern going this direction here and this direction here, but I think it's so subtle. It's subtle enough that I don't think it's going to matter. And each side, you generally don't see more than one side at a time. So, unless you turn the card. So it's not like if the patterns don't quite line up, I don't think it's that big of a deal. My fingers are getting sticky. DSP, I am using the Peony Garden. See? There's the little peonies on the other side. It's pretty. It also has this, which I'm going to use on another card that I make, but it's got similar sort of I guess it's a herringbone pattern, and it is just a little bit darker. It's almost, I think it's going to match nicely with blue. Misty Moonlight. Let's go here, add our little piece, and one more little foot. And then, whoops, get you seasick here. One right there. Let me put this back in, throw it in my shot glass. Thanks to Aldana's idea. Went to my secondhand store here and got myself a little shot glass. Definitely don't use it for drinking, so it works good for this. All right, so can you see now how this all folds up? Neat, hey? Okay, so I'm going to pick, I guess, this side to decorate. So I'm just going to lay it flat, knowing that just so you don't get confused, maybe keep your points along the same line on your grid paper. That way you won't make your pattern or whatever you're making crooked, if you will. Okay. Yes, I did. All right, so I cut out some branches. Now you have to keep in mind that anything that goes off of this portion is going to make it too big to put in a normal size envelope. So try your best to keep it within that. Otherwise, you can always make your own envelopes using coordinating DSP perhaps. So I'm actually going to be cutting some of these branches. You can go down in here, that's okay, but you just can't go past these outsides. So let's just do a little trim. How about if we cut it off there and just there. So I've got a piece of Whisper White branch. I also cut this branch out from the silver foil. I thought, oh, that's gonna make it fancy dancy. Let's do the same thing here. Do that backwards. Let's just cut this little tail off. I don't know if I should put the silver behind or in front. Okay, I'll show you what else I'm doing here. What else my plan was. Of course, cardinals to me speak kind of Christmas. I don't know why. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a cardinal. I don't know, maybe they don't even live around here. So there's that getting sticky. There's my thoughts. Used cherry cobbler on cherry cobbler. No, I shouldn't say it that way. On Whisper white paper, I use the what do I want to say? The non-detailed flat piece. I stamped off once and then stamped it onto the Whisper white paper. And then I did full strength of the more detailed stamp over top, making that pop in cherry cobbler. I also have this Merry Christmas from Christmas Gleaming, that stamp set that carried over. You don't think cardinals live in Alberta? Probably not. I don't know. Woodpeckers do. And well, blue jays live in Manitoba, but yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I just think cardinals kind of are Christmassy. They must be Christmassy somewhere. So we're just going to sort of start putting this together. I wonder if I just laid this flat. Now let's just get out my liquid glue again and start positioning this little branch. How about we do this one facing up? I should move that guy over. Maybe if we move it down. I'm going to have glue where I don't want it, but thankfully it dries clear. Cardinals and blue jays are related, really? I didn't know that. Huh. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they do live in Manitoba. I've just never been lucky enough to see one. Okay, let's put this one over top. I keep the end leaves at least on. I can always cut this little portion off, and that's not that valuable to me, if you will, if it's not quite there. Pretty. Gold silver. And I think we could pop this little birdie up. I think he wants to go up here. Maybe he'll fit. We'll put him up on this big branch. Dimensionals. Of course, these little birds do come with a foot stamp. So if you are kind of not liking that he doesn't have feet, that's okay. There is that option for sure. Should we put him in the middle, off center? I don't know. Well, I know I want to pop it up, so we can start there. Put some dimensionals on. see what it looks like. It's covering up so much of that. Beautiful. It's like the bird is way too far away for the sentiment or something. Okay, I'm going to put them here just for now. I'm going to take this one off. Oh, I hear ripping. Chance for an embellishment. Or two birdies. Oh, I think we did it. There, I think that's a little better. I did have these little pieces left over. Maybe we can, you know, add some at the top or something. Or down below. Sure, why not? Let's use it up. Okay. Should we add some pearls or I wonder what the metallic, those silver metallic pearls would look like. Or, oh, those are the real red. They're just a little bit off. Here's the silvers. I think that would look nice. Or we could add a silver eye. Well, take your picture. Let's see. Let's put where those little circular areas are. They kind of look like they were meant to be little blossoms or something. We can throw those there. How about some that. And for his eye, I think I'm going to take a regular pearl and let's color it in. I guess we don't have basic gray, but we do have black, the Stampin' blends. If I use the light version, maybe that's pretty close to being our basic gray. Pardon me. Okay. There's a little eyeball. No sticker sheets. Yes, I have sticker sheets. I forget and I'm too lazy. I'm telling you. Oh, I could have done those metallic pearls in red too. That might have looked fun. So when I get them, I'm going to get a little piece of Velcro and it'll just help keep that closed. And I just like that, you know, it's gonna, sometimes these fancy fold cards don't exactly sit nicely on your mantle. They're fun, but they don't sit nicely. But this, I mean, is going to sit so well on somebody's, you know, card display for Christmas. And you know, it's a cute little keepsake for sure. And of course, I would probably stamp in here, you know, well, we could do, from this one, I cut off the "and be jolly this season," Merry Christmas and be jolly this season, but I just cut that little "and" off so that I could just use be jolly this season as its own little stamp. So I could, you know, write that or stamp that in there, and really you don't have to write a whole lot. Just saying, just saying. And let me show you how this, so this folds up like this in half. And let me grab an envelope to show you. Promise that, so I've got our very vanilla right now, but that if you go in with this side first, the biggest side first, oops, just all slides in here. It's going to be a little bit thick right now, but just once you close it down, it'll be okay. And it fits. Isn't it neat? Okay, so what I'm going to be doing next, I won't do it now, although, well, I've got 35 minutes. What do you think? Should I go? Should I do the next one that I was planning to do later anyway? Yeah, let's just do it together. Okay, so for this one, what my thoughts were, I have the woodland embossing folder. And you know how we did with the bricks, how we kind of rubbed on an ink? Well, I thought, let's send that woodland embossing folder onto the basic gray, a little bit darker color, and that way I can rub some white over top of it and it'll look like snow. That's my hope anyway. Oh, neat. Cool, hey? I like it. Now if I go a little crossways, I don't know. Cross and side and upside down and backwards. There. Okay. I think that's going to look pretty. That'll give it the woodsy, Christmassy maybe feel that I'm going for. So for this one, I decided I'm going to use 3 pieces of cherry cobbler, stick in this kind of color theme. So 3 pieces 4x4 cherry cobbler. These ones I'm going to score in half on the diagonal. So there again, use the trimmer. Scoring. Okay, and the rest of the pieces I decided to use Whisper White as my mat. So 2 pieces of these are at 3 3/4. Then for my kind of inserts, instead of DSP, I'm using the basic gray layers, one of which I'm going to have the woodland embossed on there. And those 2 pieces are 3.5 by 3.5. And then I have a 3.5 by 3.5 Whisper White that's going to go on the inside of the card. And I should have had here's my little Whisper White mat, 1.5 by 1.5, and I don't know, I must not have done a little mat for 1.25 by 1.25. So let's just make sure, no, not quite, let's use this one. 1.25 by 1.25. Oh, can't see that? No. Okie dokie. So the rest of these pieces, other than these red ones, your main card base, are going to be cut in half. So all of them cut on the diagonal. Like so. Oh, I have the Craft White re-inker. I dip a toothbrush into it lightly to splatter snow on the cards. Oh, I like that idea. I think I might have to steal that. Kevin doesn't use his toothbrush anyway, so maybe we can just use his. you would never notice. Anybody have any big plans for the weekend? Can you see how this card would work well with this birds and branches set for like all sorts of kind of occasions? Like, you know, birthday for kids, depending, you know, last week we did those super duper bright cards, right? I can't remember if this was a insert. Yes, I think it was. Yes. One more to cut. Bone folder. So those red pieces, we're going to give a really good crease. It is really simple to put together. It really is. It's like I say, it's just, you know, cutting all the squares with the right measurement, then cutting them in half and scoring. But really, to put it together, it's simple. Yeah. And so many different variations you could do. Oh my goodness. You could put different DSP on all the sides. You could put wood grain and make it into a dresser. You could, you know, make it into a little tent kind of idea. Okay, so we're going on up and down diamond. We're going to start there, and then our goal is to make a great big triangle here with our pieces of paper, just so you don't get mixed up here. So see the big triangle? Okay, I'm just going to lay this down here and give myself a little tick mark with my pencil so that I know to keep my glue in this portion. I'm using liquid glue because, whoops, try to stay within your glue. You know, it doesn't matter if you color inside the lines, but glue, yes, it's a little more important. Okay, so I'm just going to lay that down there, and the important thing is to line up. Make sure those pieces along there are lined up perfectly. Good, good to go. Now, glue, just you can basically eyeball it. I'm not going to add another pencil mark. Making sure, see, this would not be a triangle, right? So make sure you've got yourself a great big triangle. Staying in and working on Thanksgiving cards. Whew. Yeah, 110. Oh, 110. Wowzers. I know my poor Manitoba folk are, yesterday, what were you guys at, 49 Celsius? That is killer. Okay, so your big triangle, awesome. Now I have the two smaller pieces that are going to go in here so that we can write our sentiment or stamp our sentiment. Can you imagine like making a bunch of these and throwing them on your co-workers' desks before they get there in the day? I think that'd be kind of, you know, so neat. I just want to make sure that this one's the same size. Yes. Because with those other matte ones are just 1/4 of an inch bigger. So I don't want to use that on the inside because it just won't fit. Okay. Can you see how this goes together? Coolly. So we got that side done. Let's get this side done. So in this case, my mat is going to be Whisper White. Man, I've come a long way using liquid glue. If you've been with me for a while, I never ever used liquid glue. It's still not my favorite preference, but in some of these instances it definitely works a little better when you have to you need to line things up a little nicer and have a little more wiggle room. And those little pieces along the bottom there. Let's finish up these mats. Whoopsie. And one more. And then I put it right in the glue. Good job, Jen. Fingers are getting sticky. Still haven't mastered that yet. I'll probably give this fold a try now that I have the new Stampin' Up! Trimmer. Yes. Yes, it does make it super simple. Definitely a must. Okay, so now for these, well, I know that these ones won't really matter, so I'm going to add these little gray feet. There's one foot. And another foot. Okay, and I'm just going to open this up and decide kind of where I think I'm going to decorate on this side. So that's going to be where I put the trees. Now I'm almost wondering, I suppose they're going to be upside down. Didn't think that through, did I? Okay, how about this side? I think it's going to go on this one. Or, no, because that's going to be crooked. These are more up and down. The branches are a little more up and down. Okay, so let's use this one. Well, I don't know if I want. Yeah, that's crooked. This one would be nicely up and down. Okay, let's put it there. So I guess there's a method to that piece. If you're going to put a certain direction of a pattern. All right, and then these ones are easy. I suppose if you didn't do the toothbrush thing, there are, does this set have, yes it does. There are those little dots that if you were to use your craft ink, you could just stamp on the snow, which we may just do. Especially on these just plain gray. Let's do it. I could have white embossed them as well, which would be quite pretty. All right, find myself a little block. I don't. What do you think? Very, very, very subtle, but I haven't used this embossing folder in a long time. So I'm glad it's still around. There. Oh, is this Ohio State colors? Miss having coworkers. Aw. I do not. I miss some of them terribly, but others. Okay. I suppose either way works. Let's go with this one to decorate. Now I haven't cut out a branch or anything. So I think what I'm going to do is decorate this one up and post it on my webpage a little bit later on. That way I won't be keeping you very long. So, all right, so this is my plan for here. I could also, it does come with that little flower. This little flower. I could maybe put some, maybe that would look like a little poinsettias. I don't know, we'll see. I'll play around with this and see what I come up with for this one. Okay, so let me just show you what we made here today. This one. And if you missed it at the beginning, this was, see how I put in the little nest fits just perfectly there. Cute, eh? All right, and of course all these measurements and whatnot are going to be on my blog later. Make sure you get in on this bundle this week, because not only will you get in on bonus days, which Stampin' Up! Is giving away some freebies, I suppose. So every $60 you spend, you get $6 back to use in August. So that's all right. Plus, it's my birthday month. And that means that I'm giving away 46 things at the end of the month to anybody who places an order with me. And you know what? Nobody took me up on my offer yesterday. Anybody who ordered, nobody's ordered this in the last 2 weeks. I don't know. I love it. I love this set. This is another Label Me Bold, I think, for me. Anyways, nobody took me up on that offer. So the first person to order this bundle is going to get the metallic pearls. So in that you get, let me show you here, in that you get the gold ones and the silver ones. And I've been using them a lot, as you can see, gold especially. How awesome are they? Plus, I'm sending away a bone folder, as I said, to somebody who has shared this video with their friends and crafty folk or non-crafty folk in their life. So be on the lookout for that. Share, share, share. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Tomorrow, I have got to get myself organized and get a color question on for 1 p.m. Mountain Time. That will determine what our color combo is going to be on Wednesday. And on Sunday, we're going to have Sharing Sunday, which is you get to share all your projects that you've been working on, creative, all sorts. I love how people post all sorts of things, not just necessarily card making, all sorts of fun. Gardening and baking and quilting and all sorts of things. So I love it. And then Monday, yes, 10 a.m. I will be back here with a new feature of the week. And we will play around with that all week. And of course, there will be a special for ordering that set. All right, everybody. I'll miss you. Thanks for popping on here and being my friend, my Stampin' buddy, my little help here through my projects. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this has inspired you to give this technique a try, or if you've already done it, maybe to be reminded of it and to create something with it on the weekend. Bye, everyone.